You saw the title, and yes, we're gonna leave Colombia. Why we're gonna leave Colombia, where we're going to, find it out in the video. Hi everybody and welcome back to How to Expat. My name is Tasha and this is Sam, and in today's video you saw that it's not the happiest video. We're gonna leave Colombia because there are a lot of reasons. Let's take it step by step. First of all, I want to say that this is a part of a series where we're gonna talk about, we just recorded a video where we talk about the visa process we had to go through and how that could affect your plans, like long-term plans here in Colombia. And we're gonna talk in future videos about is Colombia still a destination for expats? Should you still think about or even consider moving to Colombia? We will reflect on Colombia, pros and cons. So there are lots of videos coming. Also where we live, actually, which has been a secret for the longest time. So yeah, stay tuned for the upcoming videos. But in this video, we want to focus on the topic of why we're gonna leave Colombia. So do you want to take over from here?
Sure. So the first thing was, or let's start around a year ago. A year ago, we were in the midst of our preparation for the visa, for our second visa. The first visa we got was 3 years. That was great. We knew that the second visa was getting harder to get because the restrictions or the specifications were tighter. So we prepared for that, and the worst thing I could imagine is not having the lifestyle that we have right now. Living in Colombia, living in such a cool country to live in, and also having the financial means, not because we have a lot of money or if we earn a lot of money. I'm actually working on a Colombian salary at the moment. And yes, it's not because of that, but cost of living here is so low that if you have a little bit of money, if you have more or less a stable income, you can afford a lot of things here. And especially if you would have money from somewhere else, it's from even abroad, more. Yeah. So we wanted to keep that lifestyle going. It gave us a lot of peace of mind. It gave us a lot of opportunities, and we wanted to keep that lifestyle. So then the visa issue came along. If you want to find out more about that, maybe you've already seen it. In the last video, we talked very specifically about what exactly a visa process was. But during the time, we were confronted with the idea, what happens if we don't get the visa? Or what happens if we just get 1 year of visa, which was the thing that then actually happened. So I got the 1 year visa, but with
instead of 3.
Exactly. But what during the time of figuring out what happens, like what's the plan B if we don't get a visa, we were thinking about 50% Colombia, 50% Mexico, while that time tried to reapply for another visa and different things like that. Yeah. But while we got thinking, one of the reasons was also closest to our family. So we are around. So we are from Europe, Switzerland. Our flight back home is around 14 hours. We also have a time difference. So if you want to call, there's just like a 6-hour window, which is not impossible, but it's not so nice. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why. And this is actually a thing that Colombia told us, mm-hmm. or taught us. Yeah. Is that the family here is so close. When we actually left Switzerland, we didn't really think about that we're gonna miss our family, that we're not able to spend as much time with them, because it was, of course we knew it, but it was not too big of a factor.
No, we didn't really take that into consideration. Yeah. Which is totally different here in Colombia. Yeah. If you would leave the country, like that would be like a real drama, let's say. Of course it was hard, but since in Switzerland you are usually not that close with your family, or you're really independent at a young age. Like I moved out with 20 years old and stuff, so we start working at 15 years old, so we have a lot of differences with the if you, like cultural differences compared to Colombia or Latin America in general, that it wasn't really something to think about for us. It was just like, can we make it or can we not? But it wasn't about, oh, we're gonna miss our family. It's just like, yeah, well, that's part of it, you know. So I think over time we noticed, like observing Colombians, that it suddenly kind of got more important to us, and his father was staying with us for a long time, so we saw that how important that can be and how much more you bond with your family, spending more time with each other, and also they're not getting younger, right? So we can't take them for granted. So lots of things went through our mind. So this is one of the reasons we want to leave, or we took the decision. First of all, it's so complicated with the whole visa, so that's a real bummer. So just like investing more time, more money into that, and then even being so far from the family is one thing, but also we are not really city people. That's another thing. Like growing up in Switzerland, yes, we have cities and they are big, but not compared to like a lot of Latin American cities. You know, Switzerland is really tiny. Most of it is mountains. You know, so for us, we are not big city people. We like to have it quiet, and you're gonna find out where we live in a future video, but we really moved out far from the city as far as we could, but still are in Medellin, just to have a more quiet life, I would say. And
I want to add there is, you might ask yourself right now, yeah, then just why not just move out of the city?
Yeah.
The issue is very specific to us and to Colombia itself. So first of all, Medellin is a valley, and the valley is full of people, full of houses. So if you're in the valley, you are in the city, no matter how far you move out.
Yeah, you're kind of trapped.
Exactly.
In a way.
And if you move out, because it's a valley, we like the climate here. If you move out, you move up the hill, and up the hill it's too cold for us.
Yeah.
We don't like it cold, and we actually suffer if it's cold outside, even if it's just a little chilly, not even cold. The thing here in Colombia is you don't have heating in your houses. So if it's outside, if it's 15 degrees, usually for European weather, that would be nice and warm. But
Fahrenheit,
inside, 15 degrees Celsius, yeah, that's like 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So that's not really cold, but inside it's also going to be 60 degrees Fahrenheit, like 15 degrees Celsius. And then, yes, that's cold, and especially if it gets, for us, and especially if it gets even colder during the night, it's then a little unbearable. So where you would live outside of Medellin, it would be way too cold. And on the coast, of course, there is just going to be very hot. So that's the other thing. So that's
and very hot, and with the hot weather comes also like a real difference in the culture, and it's more laid back, which isn't a bad thing. But if you want to get things done, it's not gonna happen. It's just like less developed compared to Bogota or Medellin. So there's so many things. So Medellin was basically the best city we could live in our situation, with our circumstances, with what we actually want, like weather-wise, people-wise, like the whole how do you say, the startup feeling, like entrepreneurship thingy was really cool for us. So that's where we felt attracted to. Since we now have other options, and since it's so difficult with the visa, we looked further than that.
The next thing is a car. So I actually, when we lived here, we never considered getting a car, especially in Medellin. Again, if you start to live in Colombia, you find yourself not living actually in Colombia. You find yourself actually living in the city you're living in, or even further in the neighborhood you're living in. It's just the way of living here is like that. So in Colombia, we never really, or in Medellin, we never really considered getting a car, because first of all, it's a city. Traffic is bad, not very, very bad, but bad enough. Then you have law restrictions, which is called pico y cédula, pico y placa, where you're not able to drive your car on every day you want. There are restrictions to that. So it doesn't really make sense. Getting a motorcycle is a different thing, but it rains a lot here, not a lot in quantity, but a lot in like once a day for half an hour, like let's say like that. And if you're then outside with a motorcycle, it gets dangerous and not pleasant. So we never got a car here. But I actually grew up as a mechanic, so I'm a car mechanic. That's the first job I got. Is that, so I'm quite tied to the car.
Something that you have to add is the whole driving license disaster, which I mentioned in Weird Things in Colombia. If you've seen that, it's just like, well, you can come here and you say like, I have no issues with being stuck in traffic and I don't know what, but if you're not on a tourist visa anymore, if you overstayed the 6 months and you actually got a visa here, well, then you would have to get a new driver's license, which means 20 hours of theory, like classes, and 25 hours of driving lessons. So yeah, it's time and money that you have to spend, and maybe you're not willing to do that. So there are a lot of things that you have to think about. So that's also something. It's just like you cannot just get a car and drive around, but you have to do all of that. So there's a lot of like hurdles in front of you, you know, so it makes everything a little bit more complicated, which is a bummer.
So yeah, so we realized that, and also we realized that we actually like to spend time in a car. You could say, yeah, then just don't get a car, like what's the big issue? But as I said, with my background as a mechanic, with just how we like our lifestyle to be, car, we realized over the 3 years is quite a big thing for us. And that doesn't really make sense to get here in Medellin for the different reasons we mentioned.
I just feel since we are living in a valley, you feel more trapped if you don't have a car. Just going out to Rio Negro, it costs a lot, first of all, and second, you're not flexible to go wherever, because Colombia is a beautiful country and there's so many things to see. But if you don't have a car or great public transportation, it just limits the way of exploring Colombia, I would say. And so that's what I felt like. I love to travel, and I felt stuck into not only Medellin but even our neighborhood in a way. So yeah, I would say a car is really beneficial if you like to travel around.
So that's another reason why we consider leaving, is the car thing. Then before we go on to the next point, I just want to quickly mention that we have a video course. We just updated a couple of videos there. How is it to live in Medellin, and what you need to know about living in Medellin. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Things we would not tell on YouTube. There's just some things you cannot mention on YouTube. We have the video course for that. Great insider tips. So if you're thinking about living in Colombia, especially in Medellin, you have to get the video course. It's very, very invaluable information there. We also have a special discount at the moment. So check out the link in the description down below. So let's continue with the video. Then what ties into that is that you're just trapped kind of in this valley, in this city. Because as she said, with not having a car, not having great public transport outside of the city. So inside of the city, it's very good, but outside of the city, it's not really, really great. Yeah. Another thing is also food. I think you take it away there.
I won't say the food is bad in Colombia, but what I will say is that the international food is limited. Not that great sometimes, but it's not just that. I like variation with my food, and here, in my opinion, it's really limited. So first of all, here in Medellin, they mostly eat like asado, so they eat a lot of barbecue and rice and potatoes and plátanos and stuff, like plantain, which is great. And the first maybe half a year, it was great. It was something new, but after a while, you're just getting used to it, and there's nothing exciting about it. I love to get to taste new flavors and stuff, and so we pretty much figured out quite fast that the cuisine here is not that open to different foods. A lot of things are fried, like chicken and barbecue and all of that. It's just like really limited, in my opinion.
And that brings us to where we're actually going right now. So that's a good takeover there, because we're gonna move back to Europe, but not to Switzerland. We're not gonna do Switzerland lifestyle no more. We're gonna move to Italy.
Yeah.
So as you might know, we left around a month ago, 2 months ago, to Europe to visit our friends in Switzerland and then go to Italy. But Italy wasn't just a vacation. It was for us to figure out if you would want to live there. And specifically, we went to Sicily, and we really liked it there. It's different things that we like more here in Colombia, different things that we like more there. But just the closeness to our family, which is a thing we're gonna leave, is a given there. We can go there like 1 hour flight. We're at with our parents, with our friends
and
in
really
Switzerland.
Inexpensive.
very inexpensive. The next thing, we don't have to worry about visa. We're from a Schengen country, which in Europe you have freedom of travel, freedom of living. I can go to Italy and get a job there tomorrow without any paperwork that I have to bring there. We are able to not live in a city there. So the European lifestyle is just built around, you can live outside of the city, you will have good amenities there. In Europe, we are able to live in places that have good weather, where we are not trapped to a city where only the city has good weather. So that's another reason. Then the car, we can get a car there. We don't have to figure out with the driving license what to do and what not to do. We just have to figure out how to get a car, and you get a car and you have a car. And then also the food, of course, it's Italy. We don't have to talk more about that. So that's what we're gonna do. In the next video, we talk about, now that we leave Colombia, does that also mean that Colombia is not an expat destination for you, or is it? So we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of Colombia, of if you are planning to come here, if there's still as much pros as there were a couple of years ago when we decided to come here. So yeah, you want to take it away, or you want to add something?
So yeah, the only thing I want to add is that we really loved living here in Colombia. We learned so many new things. We grew so much as people, and just being out of our comfort zone. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but we're gonna do that in the next video, so stay tuned for the next video where we're gonna talk about the pros and cons and what we learned and what we actually appreciate a lot about the life we had here in Colombia. So stay tuned for that, and thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.